grace. I see through many dangers, toils, and snares. I have already 'tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, in boundless days to sing God's praise. And when we first but
and for your kind thoughts and your support during this very, very difficult time. My name is Anne Hills and I'm a celebrant, and I would just like to make sure that everybody has their mobile phones turned off, please. We're going to begin the service today with the lighting of a candle. Now, the lighting of the candle is in honour of Terry's life, and it is a symbol of the light that he brought into your lives, and it is a way of healing and bringing hope. The simple act of lighting a candle represents the spirit and allows us to express the love that you are feeling for Terry and to offer thanks for the privilege in being able to have shared in his life. I'm going to ask Josie to come forward and she's going to light that candle for us. I'm going to ask everybody to please stand while we read a prayer. I would like you just to take a few moments to focus on a personal memory of Terry that you have in your own life, and I would like you to consciously bring his presence into your hearts and into this gathering of family and friends here in our chapel. Him in his times of strength, husband to his wife Josie. And they were married for 35 years, and they've shared a good marriage, supporting each other through all of those years. Terry was the proud father to his sons Nathan and his wife Alida, and Wayne and his partner Airey. Terry has 4 children from his first marriage: Mark, Sean, Jason and Janita. He has 7 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren. Terry also leaves his sisters, Jean and Margaret, who are living in the UK, and Elaine, who is in Adelaide, and also his brother, David, who is in UK as well. It is always very difficult to find the right words to say at a time like this, but I would just like to take the opportunity to convey my deepest sympathy to you all. And I do hope that the love that surrounds you today brings you strength and comfort. I sat down the other day with Josie and with Nathan, and they spoke at length of Terry, and they gave me an understanding of the man that he was. Terry was a cattle farmer, so he understood the reality of working life. He was a person who had the enormous capacity for work and getting things done. His farm was his passion, and his achievements and work ethic were governed by the principles of loyalty, total effort, and the giving of heart, mind, and spirit. He had high expectations and a good sound knowledge of his industry, and he earned the respect of his peers. Terry was very clever with his hands, and he could fix anything and he could build anything. And in his spare time, if he ever allowed himself to have any, he enjoyed the cattle auctions and the farm machinery sales. As a father, he was a hard taskmaster. He set an example of respect and determination, and that to get anywhere in life, you have to work hard for what you want. I asked Josie to share her thoughts with me. She said that she and Terry had a very good understanding of one another. They did everything together. They worked hard together and had never spent any time apart. She said he was a nice man. Terry will be remembered as a strong, determined man whose integrity, that was so much a part of his life, will remain in the hearts and the minds of all those who knew him and loved him. Terry's health had not been all that good in these last period of time, with various trips to the hospital, but he was still strong. On the 8th of June, on a planned hospital visit to outpatients, complications set in, and sadly, he passed away on the 11th of June. Josie was by his side when he peacefully lost his battle. His death was unexpected and has been a huge shock for everyone. Today is a sad time for all of you, and there will be times of grief and sadness, but there will be times of smiles and laughter, so welcome them all. Reach out and support each other and know that you're not alone in your grief. Whatever your beliefs or understandings may be, I invite you to silently offer your unspoken thoughts or prayers here today. And I invite you to give thanks for the many gifts that Terry has brought into your lives. Today, do what is that you have to do. Shed some tears, share your grief with everybody here. It will be all those little things that you will remember and those special moments that will bring joy and comfort in the days that you have ahead of you. May you gain strength and comfort from the words and the prayers here today. And it is thinking of Terry and saying goodbye to him that you can say thank you to him for being such an important part of your life and celebrate his life as he would have wanted, a life well lived. Well, it's now time for the eulogy, and I'm going to ask Nathan to come forward, please, to present that eulogy. And Wayne as well, sorry.
Oh boy. It's going to be my toughest day I've had, for sure. Thank you all for taking the time to celebrate the life of Terry here today, and to family and friends that are dialing in from overseas. My name is Wayne, and this is my brother Nathan. Terry was our father, and we'll be sharing some of our memories of Dad and also telling his story. Those that know Dad, Terry, well, know that strong-willed is not a strong enough phrase for the determination that he possessed. An interesting character, he continually demonstrated how hardworking he was and his own guiding principle to never give up. I'd like to detail a few things that built Terry's character, along with an insight into his life and becoming a farmer before moving to Australia. My brother Nathan will share with you the remainder of Terry's story. Let me begin in 1935. Terry was born in Bowden, a small country town in Yorkshire, England. Before he could really develop a memory, his life was turned upside down in 1939 at an age of 4 as World War II commenced with Hitler invading Poland. Looking back, Dad said he had a bike accident which resulted in tuberculosis in the hip. He was admitted to Liverpool Sanitarium Tuberculosis Hospital. This disease left him with casts right down his body and up to his cheek. For the next 5 years during the war, Terry lived with hearing the constant bombings and air raids from the hospital ward. He would look out the window where he would at times watch people walking around with metal detectors checking for unexploded ordnances. Terry's dream of farming began looking out the hospital ward window as he watched farmers working the land, rounding up their cows for milking. Becoming a farmer became his goal in life. Reminiscing, Dad told us that if he was ever to get out of the hospital, he would become a farmer. He dreamt of owning his own land with some cows, chickens and pigs. That was his dream. In 1945, World War II concluded, and Dad, at the age of 10 years, began moving forward in his recovery of the tuberculosis, learning to walk again. The disease had left him with one leg 4 inches shorter than the other. His built-up shoe became his tool, along with his determination to begin a new life outside the hospital walls. Anytime he began pursuing his dream. He quickly got to know the local farmers in order to gain valuable work experience whilst earning some money before and after school until he was able to establish something of his own. In 1949, an impatient 14-year-old Terry left school and went straight into working full-time for local farmers, doing anything that was required to get closer to achieving his dream. He learned all he could from milking cows, caring for animals, and constructing yards and stone walls. No job was too big. His love for farming continued to grow stronger, along with his determination and eagerness to carve a life of his own. For the next few years, Dad saved all his money and started accumulating some chickens before leasing a few acres of government land. He started building structures with materials sourced from demolished buildings from the war. Any free timber, steel, bricks he could get his hands on to build fences, pig stalls, chicken coops. You could say it was a lean startup, but obviously with a lot of sweat equity. He was strategic in his construction, understanding everything constructed required to be somewhat removable and easily saleable as possible. With Dad's dream so close to becoming a reality, he couldn't help himself from purchasing a van despite not being able to obtain a licence. The van was instrumental in the growth of expanding his farm. It made it easier for him to go around town picking up food scraps to feed his pigs and chickens. By the ripe age of 21, only circa 10 years after being discharged from hospital and with limited upbringing and education, Dad had accumulated over 100 pigs, many chickens and 5 cows. And in the end, it was called Brook Hill Piggery and Poultry. Dad's lease of the land was eventually up and was given notice to vacate. Dad had a big auction sale and sold absolutely everything from tools, barrows, buckets, including the van. There was nothing left. He cashed in and had to walk home. With one dream already achieved, Dad, again with no time to waste, hastily and headstrong, he set his sights on the land down under, Australia. And Nathan will continue Dad's story from here.
Thanks, Wayne. Dad had plenty of stories, and a lot of these youthful stories from the early days are amongst my favourite. And it was pretty impressive what he achieved already, given the adversity he had as a child. So continuing his story, in 1956, Dad had just sold all his belongings, and he's plotting his next move. He buys himself a small car, a Morris Minor, as was the fashion in the day, and then he went to the village and watched a movie called Smiley. The movie is set in rural Australia, and the plot follows a teenage boy called Smiley who takes on odd jobs and would have to show enterprise, hard work, and persistence in order to save up to buy a bicycle. That sounds familiar. Captivated by the movie and the idea of travel, he makes his decision to do a gap year in Australia. His ticket to Australia was going to cost £125, and because of his physical disability, he was not eligible for the Australian government subsidy, which have reduced this to what is commonly known as a £10 POM scheme. He didn't let that stop him, so he paid full price. Probably the only time I've seen him pay full price for anything. So you'd like that one. He jumped on a ship and began his adventure to Australia. He spent nearly 3 months at sea, travelling via Egypt and Sri Lanka. When I asked him about this, he reflected fondly on this time, spending his days dancing, meeting new people, and swimming in pools, and he enjoyed all the travel in the various ports of call. He eventually landed in Sydney and took a train to Brisbane before heading out to Proston in Queensland to work on farms for another 10 months before returning back to England. A year later, he returned. tracks in and around Gympie. He had some help from his wife and young boys, and Mark recalled, at about the age of 8, having to steer the tractor along the road. Tickled and swiped right. And after a year of correspondence, over 20 letters, he picked up the phone and formally proposed. Mum, making sure to keep him keen, took 3 months to consider it. And after Dad travelled to the Philippines, they got married and moved to Australia. 1 year later, I was born, and my brother Wayne followed 4 years later. Dad never stopped working hard on the farm. He loved developing and improving the land. Just like some of our stepbrothers and sisters here, I have endless memories as a child working with Dad, Mum and Wayne. Looking back, some of those memories are fond, others slightly fraught with danger. I'll certainly never forget the time he made the Gympie newspaper by accidentally setting his excavator on fire while he was still in it. You can actually Google that one. I reckon everyone here can agree that Dad had an impeccable work ethic. As the saying goes, if you I don't think he ever worked. We are incredibly saddened by his sudden passing and that he is no longer with us. As we look back on his life in fondness, it's a testament to the life he lived. All those that are here to celebrate his life. Love you, Dad. Rest in peace.
Thank you, Wayne, and thank you, Nathan. I'm now going to call upon Tom Grady to come forward, and he's going to pay a tribute for us here today to Terry. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Grady, and along with my wife Lynn, we operate a business here in Gympie. Firstly, I'd just like to thank the boys. That was a beautiful eulogy, one of the best I've ever heard. It's really told me a lot about Terry that I didn't know. But I got to know Terry about 50 or maybe 60 years ago. And during those years, I've had numerous dealings with Terry, many dealings. Selling cattle at the sale yards by auction, several clearing sales of farm equipment. Terry would also buy farm that we had. I always found Terry to be very genuine, totally honest, and well respected in the community. He was a really great person. And it's great to see all of Terry's children here today. It's so wonderful. At times, Terry did tell me about England and what he did, but I had no idea until I heard the eulogy there this morning, just what an experience and what an achievement that man has done. It's unbelievable, really, that he could pick himself up and just move forward and be so remarkable. Terry had a great understanding of farm machinery. I know that myself for what I saw of it, and a great understanding of cattle. And talking about the caninas. I remember those big cattle that Terry had. They were really big, tall cattle. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming, and my deepest sympathy to Terry's wife, and all of Terry's children, and thank you for coming. Thank you.
I could not stay another day to laugh, to love, to sing, to play. Tasks left undone must stay that way. I found my peace at close of play. And if my parting left a void, then fill it with remembered joy, a friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss. Yes, these things I too will miss. Be not burdened, deep with sorrow. I wish you sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, I've savoured much. Good friends, good times, a loved one's touch. Perhaps my time seemed all too brief. Don't lengthen it now with grief. Lift up your hearts and share with me. God wants me now, He set me free. I'd like to invite you just to take a moment to sit quietly and reflect on all those memories that you have of Terry. This is an opportunity to reflect on your own experiences, beliefs and understandings about life and death that bring meaning to your lives and to your relationship to others. So this now is a time for reflection while we watch some beautiful memories.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels. was my way.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. I'll pretend that I'm missing the lips I am missing, and hope that my dreams will come true. And then while I'm away, I'll ride home every day, and I'll send all my loving to you. All my loving I will send to you. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. My loving to you. All my loving I will send to you. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. All my loving, all my loving, ooh, all my loving, I will send to you.
There's some beautiful memories there. We're now going to have a floral tribute, and I'm going to ask those of you who would like to do this to come forward. Just take a few petals as I offer them to you, and just place them very gently onto Terry's coffin. And this is just a final gesture of love and respect for him.
The old hometown looks the same as I step down from the train, and there to meet me is my mama and papa. Down the road I look, and there runs Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home. Yes, they'll all come to meet me, arms reaching, smiling sweetly. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home. The old house is still standing, though the paint is cracked and dry. And there's that old oak tree that I used to play on. Down the lane I walk with my sweet Mary, hair of gold and lips like cherries. It's good to touch the green, green grass of home. Then I awake and look around me at four grey walls that surround me. And I realized, yes, I was only dreaming. For there's a God, and there's a sad old portrait. On and on we'll walk at daybreak. Again I'll touch the green, green grass of home. Yes, they'll all come to see me in the shade of that old oak tree as they lay me 'neath the green, green grass of home.
And friends surround you. May the love of friends and family be a source of strength and comfort during this time of sorrow. And may the warmth and the heartfelt thoughts surrounding you bring hope and consolation for each step along the way. It's now time to say our final farewell to Terry. He has touched all of you, and in that way, he will be with you always. Your memories of him and the many legacies that he has left, it will make you smile again. We all have our time. We are thankful for the privilege of sharing in your life. We are comforted to know that your spirit is now free and you leave this life satisfied in the knowledge that you have accomplished all of your tasks. We will forever cherish your friendship, Terry, Airey. May you rest in peace. Can I ask everybody to please stand?
So dark. Stand by